I'm Brittany from Coffee Planner Mom, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. Usually you are getting a view of my planner and my desk, and this time you get me. So I wanted to do a forward-facing video to talk about planners. So 2020 is almost here. Which is really exciting because it's like not just a new year is almost upon us, like it's a whole new decade. So you want to try, or at least I want to try, to make sure that like I'm going into it completely organized and I've got my life like all planned out and that I've just got like everything together. So for me, that's paper planning. Maybe that is you. Maybe you're thinking about getting into paper planning. Maybe you just are trying to figure out what options are out there for planners. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, is how you can pick a planner for 2020. So a couple of things that you're going to want to think about is first, what you are wanting. There's a lot of different types of binding we'll start off with for your planner. So you can have coils, you can have rings, you can have strings, you can have discs. If you're not familiar with the planning community, you might be like, what? So coils. You remember when you were in school and you had your spiral bound notebook? That's what I mean when I talk about coils, or whenever you hear anybody else in the planner community talking and saying coils. You can get coils from anything. Like you could end up getting just a regular notebook and using that. It doesn't need to be something super fancy. You can go into some like places like Target, Staples, get just a regular planner from them, or you can get one of the most like predominantly known names in the coils are Erin Condren. So you can do that. Now for rings and strings, those are more of a notebook style. So there are several options out there that you can get for a cover, and you get different types of inserts. So rings are what it sounds like. I'm trying to kind of like, so we had coils like your notebooks from school. Binder rings is what I mean when I say about strings. So usually you'll have a 6-hole down the spine, so 6 rings, and they come in different sizes, and the same thing with strings. Now strings, I mean a traveler's notebook. Now, both of these, rings and strings, and actually discs when we get to them too, are really handy because you can customize them and you can add things, you can take things out. With the coils, you can't. So with the strings, it's actually an elastic band. Well, typically you're going to have several elastic bands down the center of the cover, and you're able to insert the individual notebooks into them. Now they come in several different sizes, but that is the gist of rings and strings. And then I was also talking about discs. Oh, I guess I should tell you guys some options for getting those planners. So for the covers themselves, there are several options. Printpression does vegan leather. So if you don't want actual leather and you want a faux leather, Printpression, I've heard so many fabulous things about his shop. Foxy Fix is another good one. Those are two that are like really predominant in the planner community. I've seen so many good reviews, just people raving about the products, the customer service. So those are great options for those. When it comes to the discs, Happy Planner is one of the biggest names, but there's also Tool that you can, so T-U-L, that you can get at, I think it's Office Depot or Office Max. I think they're the same store at this point. There's the ARC system from Staples. There's Lavenger, like I said, Happy Planner. They all have the discs. And actually, so this is one of the planners I'm using for next year. So there are the discs down the spine, and it is customizable. So you know how binder discs work, so you can just pop them open. The strings, like I said, you slip it in the elastic so that you'll have it open halfway. Slide this half in so that the elastic is here, boom, and then shut it. So the customizable aspect of the discs, what you do is you take from the top of the page and then you arc it up, like I like to say like a rainbow, and it lifts the page out. don't pull, you'll rip it and you'll break it. And then you just line it back up with the discs and pop it right back in. So those are a lot of the, basically like the ready to go planners. Maybe you're feeling really creative, or you want something that's going to be more flexible and change on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. You can take up bullet journaling. And that you really only need a blank notebook. Maybe you'll prefer dot grid or graph lined instead of actual straight lines, just so that you have a little more flexibility, which sounds really odd that you have more lines and dots, but it gives you more flexibility to draw in your own layout, because they're not quite so obtrusive as like just regular lined paper. And then for bullet journaling, you can be as decorative. You can do like little doodles, or you can just do it completely business-like and start off at the very front with an index so that you can keep track of what you have. And as you go, you just write down on your one page, maybe it's your to-do list, and then you turn the page and then suddenly that is your weekly spread, and then you turn the page and it's something else. So the index, it helps you keep track of what is on what page. So if you're like 6 pages in and you can't remember where your to-do, well, I guess 6 pages in you'd still remember, but you can check your index for your September to-do list if you're in November and you wanted to see what you had left to do from that. So we've talked different bindings. Now, there's actually a lot of different sizes that you can get for your planners. So I actually just grabbed my cheat sheet. So this is from Lights Planner Action. She is an insert shop. When I talked about rings and strings, I talked about the covers that you could get, but I didn't mention the different options that you have for the inserts themselves, because those planners don't come with the guts. You need to buy the guts itself. Lights Planner Action is where I get my inserts, and I have weekly spreads, finance spreads, address book, passwords, just note pages. Like, there's so many different options, and that's why it's great for customizable. But on the back, she has a little cheat sheet, and there's a lot of different sizes, and I'm just going to show you guys. So hopefully you can see pretty well. For the different sizes of rings and strings. So a very common one is B6, because that's a 5x7 size, basically the size of this postcard, and a size that most people are familiar with when I say 5x7 because of pictures. Now, I love the different systems where you can interchange what you have in the planner itself. So I like to, and maybe you're designing your own. The things that for me are must-haves in a planner are size. For my everyday, I need something that's going to be a little bit larger. So this is a classic happy planner size. There's 3 sizes. The big is just a little too big for me. The mini I don't use for my everyday planning, but this is a good solid size for the Erin Condren if you're a spiral bound preference. It's about the same size roughly, but and then they have like very similar layouts on the inside. I know this is just like so much. So the traditional styles are what I typically use in my videos. So vertical columns with divided up into 3 boxes. But if that doesn't work for you, then that's totally fine. There are other options. Maybe you're horizontal, maybe you need hourly, or maybe you need something where it breaks it down by day. That is why discs, rings, and strings are my preference. I don't have rings and strings, but it's still the same concept. You can add in whatever it is going to help to keep you functional. So like I said, there's so many different inserts. You can get monthlies, weeklies, dailies, depending on how much you need to break down and plan out your day. And then you can add in the extra inserts as well. Address book financing so that you can stay on a budget, so that you don't have that jumbled up with your list of clean the kitchen, clean the bathroom, pay this bill, clean this, because it might get lost. So having separate sections for the different things in your life to keep it compartmentalized can be incredibly helpful for a lot of people. Or you can use that 3 box column and keep one for your to-do list, one for your cleaning list. Nope, that's what I meant. One for your bills, and then one for something else, maybe work or events that you have going on. So we've talked a lot about the bindings. what type of guts you can get, different sizes. So really what you want to do now is you want to sit down and decide what is going to be most functional for you. Do you just want something that's going to be ready-made and you don't have to buy the different pieces? Because if so, coil might be the best option for you. If you know that you're not going to want to insert anything else into it, you can just grab a coil planner and you're ready to go. You just have to decide which layout that you want. But if you want to have that sort of like customizability, rings, strings, discs, those are going to be fantastic options for you. Because like I said, you can add in anything that you want. Maybe you want to have a folder added in. I add folders to my planners all the time. So now you have an idea. Oh, forgot another one. There's also the kind that lay flat like a book. So instead of having like any of those exposed edges or the rings, the strings, that sort of thing, it can just look like a hardbound book. And those typically lay flat. The planner that comes to mind when I'm talking about that is the Passion Planner. So that is a good one to check out if that is more your style. I'm not sure if they have different options for layouts and sizes. I know that the ones that I see are typically hourly. So there's that. Now, sizes, before I forget, if for something like the coils, I would recommend going bigger because it would be better to have too much space than not enough space. With the other ones, it kind of doesn't matter because if you do need more, you can always add in extras. So is it going to be traveling with you? Or is it going to just be sitting home as like a central command center for your house? That's why I use a classic for my main planner, because it just stays home. I do have a smaller planner that I take with me in my purse because I need something to fit in my purse. So I take a mini, and then next year I'm going to be doing that skinnier one that I showed you, which is now buried underneath my inserts. Here we go. So this one I use for, or will be using for on the go, because it's just smaller and it's more portable. So you pick your size, you pick your binding, and then you can pick your layout, whatever's going to be most functional for you and how you want to break down your day and your planning. What is important for you to get in there? For my on-the-go planner, I just keep track of where I need to be. Places, like if I have to be home for it, I put that in there. But I don't keep track of cleaning lists or anything like that. I do keep track of my shopping list though. Not my main grocery list, but like the, oh, when I go out, I need to swing by Target and pick up this, this, and this because we need milk and we need bread. That sort of shopping list. So how do you see yourself using it? Are you going to use it for that? Are you going to use it as your like command center for your family, and you've got like 3 kids and a husband who travels and does this, that, and the kids are in all these sports and you've got this going on, sounding like myself right now. But that's going to help to keep track of what is going on. That's why having a bigger planner is better for me, and I love having it vertically because that is just how my brain works. I need to see it in order, and I write it in chronologically. If that's not you, that's fine. Maybe horizontal will work better. Hourly is just a little too, I don't want to be not pigeonholed, but I don't want to be stuck doing it by the hour. I have more flexibility than that, but maybe you need that like set and defined like hourly breakdown. And honestly, that is the really beneficial thing about discs, rings, and strings, is that maybe for the most part you don't need that, but you're like, but there are times where I am going to need it. Strings doesn't give you quite the flexibility where you can just pop it into the middle of the week that you're using, like you have to use each individual booklet. But with the discs and rings, you can just take that extra page that you want to break down your day by the hour and stick that in to the middle of your week so that it's still all together. Because let's say you have a really busy Tuesday, you have your Monday, you have your big sheet for Tuesday, and then you turn the page and you still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, yeah. I hope you got some valuable information out of this. This way you can go out and you can pick your new planner for 2020 and make it as successful, as productive, as whatever it is, memorable, whatever you want 2020 to be. I hope that you got the information out of this video to pick a planner to help you make that happen for you. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you don't miss out on any of my other videos. If you press the bell icon, it'll actually give you pop-up notifications so that you'll know as soon as all of my videos go live, because YouTube doesn't just tell you those things. You have to tell YouTube to tell you those things. And be sure to be following me over on Instagram. Over there, I am at Coffee Planner Mom. If you want to see more videos where I'm chatting with you, let me know. Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Bye. But you was not on camera. So, those are,